We are back. Let's continue debugging this thing. So with MySQL. So we have installed MySQL, in my case 5.7 server, community server, and have a problem with my npm driver that's not working fine. Client does not support authentication protocol requested by server. Now I think perhaps if we create a new user that might work. I know that this error happened if you have version 8 and the npm package at some point did not support it. It probably, I don't know if it still has that problem, but I was puzzled that it did manifest in versions 5.7. Anyway, I suspect something to do with the password, the way it's being authenticated, right? Something authentication protocol. So let's do the following. Let's go into MySQL. Let's create a new user specifically for our application. All right, so let's do that. So let's do create user. Give it a name. It can be write something user. Okay. So it's going to be at localhost in our case, identified with MySQL native password. In this case, I'm using version 5.7 server. Okay, and you give it whatever you want for the password. I'm just gonna do a dummy password here. Oh, there's some policy requirements. Probably it's asking. Let's see. It's probably asking for numeric and so on. Let's try again. No, I'm gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, I think it's asking for an uppercase letter. Now we have numeric, we have lowercase. Let's try A, B, C, D. Okay, still does not satisfy. Okay, let's try again. A, B, C, D. Let's put, I don't know, comma. There you go. It needed a punctuation character. Finally got something. That's flush privileges. Let's try it out. MySQL what was the name of the user? Right? Something user -b. There you go. I got in. Let me exit. Let's update. Instead of root, we're gonna use the write something user. And for the password, I'm gonna update my environment variable. Give me a moment. Just go into my bash rc and change my export MySQL password to be equal to the new one. Make sure to have a good password. I'm just doing an easy one for educational purposes, but you should always have a good, strong password. And don't tell anyone. And don't ever put it in the source code. Always use environment variables. Never commit your password or any kind of token to your source control, okay? Give me a moment. Okay. Back here, checking. I think I'm good. I'm gonna source my .bashrc so I can reload it and load the variable. Let's try this again. Still have the problem. Access denied. Now, using password no. Why not? Why not? Yet another error. Hold on, might be something to do. Let's check the issues again. Oops. Let's copy this. Let's practice again. So if you want to find out, learn more about if somebody had the problem before, right? You want to go to the page for the package. Usually there's some section of issues or problems or questions, whatever. In this case is issues. You can do a search here. Look at, this is one, in this case, there's no open, but there's closed. Weird error, something. What is this? But this one is using yes. Why is it not using password for mine? Let's do a search here. Search engine. So this is Stack Overflow. We got problem. Seems like they ran command line. Can reset. You know what? Let me try something here. So I think maybe what I did in my bash profile was not proper. Let me reload. Sure. Oh, it just hit me. I know what's going on. Okay, so I had reloaded my bash RC here, but the actual session for the server is the other tab, but the other tab has not sourced the bash RC, therefore it does not know about MySQL password environment variable. Let's try it again. And I'm afraid maybe that problem was there before and I didn't know. Even before our new user creation. I don't know. Let's see what happened here. Access denied. Database MySQL. Okay, let's create a database for our application now. So let's do sudo MySQL. Let's do create database. Let's call it, what do we call it? Write something. Oh, I think I'm gonna use underscore here. I'm afraid dash. It won't allow us to use dashes. Write something. Let's call it development. Okay, show databases should now have it, and it's here. Now let's try it here. Write something development for our database. Now this query will be invalid, right? So I'm afraid that our user does not have access to the database MySQL. That's why it happened. Anyway, let me just create a table here quickly, just for testing. Table entries, and we got, let's say, ideas. What is it? Is it int? I forgot to use database use write something development, and then I'm going to do create table entries, insert into entries values ID values, select star from entries. Now we got something. Okay, great. Now let's do that. Star, sorry to have to change this. Select star from entries. I just create a database for testing. We can change that later and drop it. Now let's try again. Let's go to the other tab. Access denied for that user to the database. So I'm guessing my user is not configured to have access to that database. So we have to alter and grant privileges, right? So let me think about that. So there's a command we can use. Let's go to MySQL again. Sudo MySQL. We got to find out how to do that. So let's do grant. So you can grant certain kinds of privileges, right? Can a user make it a database? Can you read at least something or whatever? Let's just give our user everything. Okay, so grant all privileges on, and this is the database we want. We want to do the write something development database. Okay, it could be any table, dot star, any table. 2, we got the user. It could be, what was it, write something user. Okay, we can say add localhost. Try that. Now let's try again. And finally it's working. So wow, we did it. So first, problems with the password. I think I had forgot to source my bash rc, and therefore this session of the terminal did not have my password. So that was a problem. Make sure you source your rc after you define the environment variable in the file. And in the same tab, I did a silly mistake. Second step was my newly created user. I usually want to have a user for your application, right? It did not have privileges to modify, that is to access my database, right? So we granted all privileges. So we can use the command in a MySQL prompt, grant all privileges on the name of the database, dot star meaning any table. It could be specific tables if you want it. But star means every table in this database. And to the user at localhost. Okay, finally got it working, and we got some response here. Seems like the, what was it? Let me do this. We did a console log for the results, right? So results is an array of raw data packet, and inside that we got the actual column that with value, column ID value 1. So we can get results of 0 would be the first row, right? We found. Remember before we had this is the first row here in the client, and this is how it appears here. Of course, if we had more, right? If I can do another insert. Oops, and I forgot to select the database again. Right, you can do the user, we can just type write something development dot here. That means database dot the table name. And we got that. Now if you do a select here, of course you're gonna get right the score something development dot. We got 132. Let's try it here. Restart. I just did sub-0, so maybe I want to remove that. We got 1, 3, and 2. Nice. Okay, so another thing is the hello thing I put there. I wanted to do that to make sure. So is this calling it as is it asynchronous, meaning the moment this called, it will continue execution. Beyond that, we will wait until the server's killed. So it's not waiting at all, right? It's starting, and then even after that, it's doing the hello first, and then doing the server's listening later. So it is asynchronous. So we have to find a way where to place this connection, and there must be a better place, right? Because you don't want to end the connection as what is happening here is it's listening on port 3000, but at the same time, it already closed the connection to the database. And that's not good because you need to have the connection open, right? So to be able to make the queries and so on. So we need to find a better place for that. Anyway, I think for this lesson, we're good. Let's take a break and I'll see you in the next one.